Welcome to Hustle and Flow with Heather Hubbard, episode number 46. Hi, I'm Heather Hubbard, and I was a litigator, partner, and practice group leader at an AmLaw 200 firm. I know what it takes to rise to the top. I also know all too well the toll it can take on your personal life. So how do you shine bright without burning out? How do you embrace your ambition without selling your soul? You're listening to the Hustle and Flow podcast. Hello and welcome back. I am your host, Heather Hubbard, and I realize this is coming out the day after Christmas. So I'm probably not going to get a ton of listeners on December 26th, but I wanted to go ahead and release this because it's the week that I love doing my vision board. And so I wanted to share with you the process to do that as well. So I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. You've enjoyed the holidays with your family, and you're maybe having a relaxing week as you go, after Christmas, before New Year's. It's generally a quiet time at every company across America. So hopefully you don't have a big closing or anything like that before year end, and you can kind of just move into the new year. So this is the time, this is the week when a lot of people start to think about what they want. What are their goals for the next year, both personally and professionally? I had a great time hosting the 2018 Life and Law Plan workshop last week. And if you missed it, you can still catch the replay. So if you're wanting to really work on mapping out your goals, your strategy, and your plan for 2018, know that you can still sign up. Again, you cannot attend live. We've already done that, but it will be available until January 10th. So as long as you sign up and you do the work, you watch the video, you do your plan before January 10th, you are good to go. Just know that the video does go away after then. So if you can't watch and participate, even with the replay before January 10th, do not sign up. But it is a great program. We had a wonderful time, covered a lot of great stuff, and it is a wonderful way to set you up for success in 2018. And kind of going hand in hand with that plan is creating a vision board. I love vision boards. I was creating them as a small child before I knew what they were or that they were a thing. I made them with different projects. They generally weren't for a year at a time, but they were for a specific vision that I had. And I've continued to create them and use them, and now I do them annually. And I love them. I love them. I love them. I love them so much that I used to actually host workshops where people would come in here in Nashville and we would create our vision boards together. But December 28th is my birthday, and I've started a tradition where I just have friends over and we have a vision board party to celebrate my birthday in the new year. So I want to introduce this concept to you. And maybe it'll be a new tradition for you as well. And maybe you'll even want to have your own party and have your own friends over. Maybe you'll even want to do it in your workplace. I have a great friend, Michelle. She has introduced it to her workplace, and they have an annual event where the entire office gets involved. Everyone creates their own vision board for the year. So get creative, have fun with this. It doesn't just have to be for you. You can get your team involved as well. But it is a lot of fun, and it's a great way to stay focused on what you want. Okay, so there's a few different reasons why you might create a vision board. One is, like I just mentioned, to stay focused on what you want. My husband, he used to ride, they call them dirt bikes, but they're motorcycles. He did a lot of trail riding, and they would always say, if you focus on the tree, you're going to hit the tree. So if you're in a forest riding bikes and you focus on that, you're going to hit it every single time. So the key is to be aware of your surroundings, but not focus on things because you'll hit them. It's the same concept of police officers and other emergency responders. When they're on the side of the road, they're in more danger than usual because people see it and then they drive right towards it. It's the same concept. Whatever you are focusing on, that's where your energy and your attention is simply going to go. So that's what creating a vision board is. It is a constant reminder of what you really want. And the more you can focus on it, literally with your eyesight, it helps you continue to give it energy and attention. And we'll talk about how you can make sure that you are seeing it on a regular basis. But another reason that a vision board can be a great idea is because sometimes we don't know what we want. This was the first module that we covered in the Life and Law Plan workshop. What do you want? How do you figure out what it is that you even want? And for many attorneys, we get in our heads and we want everything to be perfect. We are such perfectionists. So until we can find the perfect vision, we tend to just postpone. We're like, I'll figure that out later. Creating a vision board can actually give you clarity. And the reason why is because the creative process I'm getting ready to walk you through, what it does is it taps into your intuition and it taps into your creative side. And often that holds the key to what your soul is really crying out for. And that may sound a bit too soft, a bit too woo for you. But here's the thing, it's true. And it's amazing to me when people come back a year later and they say, like, I had no idea what my vision board even meant. But a year later, I know exactly what it meant because it's subconsciously, it was what they wanted. And so it can even be a bit of a predictor as to what's coming up for you if you follow this process. So let's break it down. And to make this easier, I'm going to give you a cheat sheet on this as well with all of the steps so you can simply print it out and follow the process. If you want that cheat sheet with the instructions, simply go to hustleandflowpodcast.com/46. hustleandflowpodcast.com/46. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. The first thing, you're going to need some magazines. You can use your own photos. I know some people that like to do that, but most people don't. You can just go to magazines. Now, you might be thinking, well, what magazines are best? It doesn't matter. When you start to look through magazines for the purpose of a vision board, you're going to see them in a brand new light and a brand new way. And it may be hard to even go back and look at a magazine the way you've looked at them before ever again. And any will do, because even though you might be looking for something related to health and fitness, you don't have to go to a health and fitness magazine, because words and pictures will pop out at you from completely, unrelated magazines. Ads are great. The advertisements that you see in magazines, you might flip through them and not even pay attention because you're not interested in the picture or the concept or what's being sold. But when you start looking at it in terms of what are the words being said, what words am I connected to? What words really move me? And you're looking at it from that perspective, not what it's actually representing or talking about, you'll find that ads are very motivational and can fit most anything and everything. That said, if you know that you are going to focus on something in particular, maybe it's a hobby magazine, maybe it is health and fitness, maybe it has something to do with food, well, sure, you can go get one of those magazines. But they don't even have to be relevant in terms of current, right? So they don't have to be on topic and they don't have to be current. You're probably going to like the looks of them a bit more if they're within the last few years, but you can pull magazines from even 5 and 10 years ago, and you're still going to find things that you like. So what you want to do is go ahead and pull out some magazines. And again, I would not go buy new ones because it's going to cost you way too much for no reason at all. Just collect some that you have laying around the house. Maybe your grandmother has a stack or another friend has a stack. Just go grab some. And, 5 will probably do. If you're the kind of person that likes to have lots of options, then maybe choose like 10 to 15, but 5 is going to be plenty. And then what you're going to do once you have your magazines, and by the way, if you want to have everything set up to begin with so that you can knock this out all at once, let me go ahead and tell you the supplies you need. Otherwise, you can do this over the course of even a week or 2 weeks, just a little bit here and there. Here are the supplies. You're going to want your magazines. You're going to need a pair of scissors. You're going to need a glue stick. I mean, it's like kindergarten all over again. You're going to need a glue stick. You are going to need something to paste it on. I personally prefer 11 by 14 poster board, and I buy mine at my grocery store. It comes in a pack of, I think, like 5 or 10, but they're just pre-cut poster board. Some people use the really big poster board for vision boards. To me, that's a bit much. It's just too much for me. And most people, they have more than fit on the 11 by 14, but they actually appreciate being forced to focus, right? Because we don't want to make decisions. We don't want to focus. And having that huge poster board actually gives you room to not have to make decisions. And so I encourage you not to do that. I do have a friend that likes to do both sides. So she'll do both sides of her vision board. Again, it's really whatever you want. Just make sure that it's sturdy enough that you can paste it on. Make sure it's the type of material that will take the adhesive. And then, as I'm going to share later, I like to frame mine. I'm going to give you some other ideas as well. So just know that this is something that you're going to want to be able to have handy. So again, if you've got this huge poster board, where are you going to put it that you can easily see it all year long? If that's going to look weird for you, don't use that size, okay? Get something smaller. Other supplies that you're going to need. I personally prefer a glass of wine and some music in the background, but you don't have to have those things. But that's it. Otherwise, you are good to go. All right, so you've got your magazines, and here's the process that you're going to follow. You are going to just flip through them, and you are looking for anything and everything that speaks to you. It could be a color. It could be a flower. It could be a dress. It could be, a faraway city or country that you're wanting to, again, I shouldn't even say want to visit, because part of what you need to be doing with this one is just doing what feels good. It doesn't have to make any sense whatsoever. If you see a word, if you see a color, if you see a pattern, if you see a picture that just feels good to you, cut it out. And that may mean like ripping the entire page off, right? Covers are good too. So you're going to destroy the magazines. Be okay with the fact that you are going to recycle these afterwards. They're not going to have a purpose, okay? So just get crazy, cut them out. And don't worry about cutting things out perfectly. I know you're going to want to make sure it looks great as you're cutting it out. Don't waste your time. We're not there yet, okay? So you're just doing very rough cuts. Okay, so once you get all of that cut out, what you're going to do next is you're going to start to create piles. And again, if you do 2 magazines and you have a ton of stuff and you're like, I think I feel good, stop there. You're just trying to get to the point where you feel like you have enough to work with. At that point, once you have all of your clippings, you're going to create piles. So you want to be able to spread out. Maybe take an entire dining room table, spread out on your floor. Unless you're like me, I have 2 dogs and 2 cats. And if you put anything in the floor like that, they're totally going to be sitting on it trying to help you, and it's going to be a disaster. I suspect small children are similar. So just think ahead. You're going to start to create piles. So here's how this is going to work. Every clipping that you have, you're going to look at it and you're going to ask yourself, how much does it speak to you? How much do you love it? Okay. So some you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that is so awesome. I have to have it. And again, you don't have to know why, but you're just like, oh yes, that has to go on my vision board. That's going to be one pile, right? I put that on my left. You can do it however you want. Far left for me is absolutely, I have to have this on my vision board. The next pile is the one in the middle, what's right in front of me, which is, I think I want this on my vision board, but it may not have to be on there, right? You're just a little bit more lukewarm about it. You like it, but it's not really, you don't feel passionate about it, okay? That's all going to go in the middle. And then the pile on the right is, I have no idea why I cut this out, and it literally is not even speaking to me anymore. And you will have a lot of those. You'll be like, what was I thinking when I cut that out? That's going to go in your far right pile. Okay, another thing that you may notice is that you cut out the same concept or the same word over and over and over again. If you did that, then you might want to create sub-piles just to kind of keep them all together. Okay, so once you have the I don't even know why I cut that out pile, I want you to go ahead and recycle it. And some of you are going to be like, I can't do that yet. You're asking me to make a commitment way too early in the process. Okay, fine. Just get it off the table, put it somewhere else, but I highly encourage you to just go ahead and recycle it. Then you're going to have your next two piles. I then want you to take the middle lukewarm pile and just put it in the corner of your table. Wherever you're working, just kind of push it aside. What you want to work with first is your I have to have this on my vision board pile. And then what you want to do is you want to start making things look pretty. And you don't have to, but I personally like things that are visually appealing to the eye. I think most people are that way. So it doesn't have to be perfect. You do not have to be a creative genius to do this. Just cut around the words and pictures the way that you want. And at this point, you want to go ahead and pull out whatever your board is. Again, I like the pre-cut 11 by 14 boards, but you can choose what you want. So I'm going to lay that out. And then I start to kind of do my design. It generally helps if you have some bigger background pieces to put those down first and then layer on top. Don't start pasting immediately because you do want the flexibility to move things around. So again, you're going to kind of put your bigger pieces on the bottom, especially if they're bigger background pieces. And then you just kind of start to layer in the other stuff in a way that just looks good to you and feels good to you. And then once you have that set, then you can start pasting it down. And that part gets a little frustrating because you may not remember exactly where something went before, but just do your best, okay? Some of you may have more in your I have to have this pile than will fit on your board. In which case, you got to start making some decisions. And that is, well, what doesn't really fit? You thought you had to have it on the board, but now as you're working through it, maybe there's some that are speaking to you more than others. Maybe you're like, okay, I definitely want front and back. Or maybe you say, I have to go to a bigger board. Just make sure that you're being intentional about it and make sure that you are being focused so that you're not too scattered with what you're wanting to do. Okay, so then you get that down. Once that's down, if you still have room, if you still have space, go to the lukewarm pile. Sometimes I never even make it to that pile. Other times I'll spread it out and I just look to see, is there anything that is now jumping out at me? Now that I have the vision board with exactly what I want, is there something that's speaking to me from that pile that really wants to join the rest of the gang? If so, I'm going to pull it over and I'm going to paste it down. And then I'm going to just step back and I'm going to look at my vision board as a whole. And I'm going to say, is there anything missing? Now, I personally don't like to force a vision board. I know there are a lot of coaches out there that will say you pick your goal, you pick your vision first, and then you create the vision board to support it. I don't like that approach. Partly because I think it goes against what you truly want deep down. And so that's why you can see pictures of things all day long. But if that's not what you truly want, it's just what you think you should be doing, it doesn't work. And I care about results. So I want you to focus on what's going to work. And that's really what you truly want. And you got to follow that intuitive process to figure that out. So, maybe you're really wanting to make fitness a priority and you need something on your board that represents that. Fine. Maybe there was nothing in the 5 magazines you looked through that represented what you wanted. Go find it. But be very, very careful not to try to force things on your board or go find things for your board because it's a goal you think you should have. Because those running shoes, that, fit person, that's not going to motivate you. It's taking up room on your board when it shouldn't. Okay? So once you have all of that set and you're good, then you want to figure out how are you going to use it? How are you going to reference it? And what I like to do is frame mine. I have a frame that I use every year, and it's also 11 by 14. And here's a tip for you. If you think you're going to want to frame it, you might want to go ahead and find the frame now and see what the board looks like in it, because you lose a little bit of edge. So for me, I never use the full 11 by 14 board. I try to bring it in a little bit. Otherwise, you lose it when you frame it. Make sense? This year, I've got a new place for it. I just hung it up and it looks a little small. So I'm going to get a new frame that's bigger that holds the 11 by 14 in the middle, but has matting around it just to really make it pop and stand out even more. I then hang that in my office. So I see it all the time. And when I'm working on my plan, when I am working on strategies, right? Because things are going to come in, opportunities are going to come in, and you're always weighing the pros and cons and you're trying to decide. I look to my vision board, and if it is not aligned, if it does not fit in, I don't do it because I know that it's only going to distract me. And it again helps me stay on what I know I truly want and what I'm focused on. Your board may not be obvious to you what you want, but if you look at it every day, if you spend some time with it, you'll eventually know. Again, intuitively, you're going to be connected to it. Okay, so if you have both sides, one of my friends, something that she has tried out and loves, and so I highly encourage you to do this if you've got both sides, is to take it to like Staples or Office Depot or somewhere like that and have them laminate it. So it then becomes kind of like a placemat, and you can put it on your desk, and you can flip it over, but it's always there. You're not going to be marking on it or anything like that, but you'll be able to see it. I love that idea. And you can do that even if it's one-sided, right? But if it's two-sided, that's a great way to be able to see it all the time and flip it around without it, getting messed up. So I love that idea. Another is you can like take a picture of it and then just make it your wallpaper on your computer screen. You could put it on your phone. If you have a planner, you can put it in the planner. In fact, one year I created my vision board within the planner. So as opposed to using a separate board, I did it within the planner. But the idea is you want it to be in a place where you can reference it often. And again, this is part of why I think the big poster board doesn't work. Unless that's just your style, it looks it's not as stylish. I'll just say that. So you want it to work with your decor. And yeah, so I'm trying to think, am I missing anything? I think I have walked you through all the steps. You've got your magazines, you're cutting without any kind of censorship. And then you are creating your piles. You pull out your board. You focus on layering first with the pile that you love. You start pasting it down. You look to the middle pile to see, do I want to add anything in? You can always look for other things outside that, but generally you're not going to need to. And then you just figure out, how am I going to look at this on a regular basis and stay focused? And I keep my vision boards because sometimes I like to go back, and oftentimes the vision that I created, the seeds that I planted for 1 year, they don't actually show up for a few more years. But because I spent so much time focusing on them, they still started to become reality, just not as fast as I probably would have hoped. So that can be fun as well. This is great for anyone and everyone, men and women. You can get your children involved if you want to do that. I have a lot of clients who their children want to get started at last 5 minutes and then they don't. But again, feel free to make this a family affair, get your girlfriends involved. You can have a party at your house, or you can do like my friend Michelle and you can have your entire office participate. I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that you create this vision board and have an amazing 2018, and it really helps you stay focused on what you really want. Again, if you want the cheat sheet with all of the steps so that you don't have to rewind this and figure out how to do it again, you can go to hustleandflowpodcast.com/46. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to talking to you in the new year. For show notes, downloads, and other free resources, and to keep the conversation going, head on over to hustleandflowpodcast.com. See you there.